So you've already organized your thoughts on your graphic organizer. Now you're wondering, how do I write myself a solid paragraph? Well, we're going to help you with this video right here. Well, here you are faced with one of those very teacherly questions. How does the author use point of view to develop the central idea of the novel? Well, first, pull the question apart. What you have to look at is point of view and connect it to central idea. Well, first of all, make sure you understand the correct point of view. How did the author write this? Did you see it in first person, where you have a whole narrative told from I, we, me, things like that? If you have it in third person, you're going to look for words like she and he and they and them. So make sure you know the point of view first. Of course, logically, a lot of kids will say, well, wait a second, if there's first person and there's third person, why isn't there second person? Well, talk to your teacher before you decide the point of view is second person. It's not always often used in narratives. It's when the author talks to you like you're a character in the story, says things like, so you're standing by the table at the Halloween party and talking to a girl in a rhinoceros costume. That is a narrative style. People do write that way, but just make sure you're on target before you go and pick that one. So for our discussion, let's have a pretend novel called The Life of Cabbage, and it's written from the first person point of view, and the protagonist is a cabbage named Savoy. Of course, I've read the novel cover to cover, and Savoy is a rather sad character, so I've realized that it's been written about the futility of life, so that's my main idea. So all that's left is writing the sentence. The author uses the point of view to develop the central idea of futility of life in The Life of Cabbage. Next, I probably want to tell my reader what point of view that is. So I'm going to say, well, she wrote this novel using the first person point of view, so the main character, Savoy, speaks to us the whole time. So now that you have your idea, you're going to have to go look for text evidence. You're going to have to grab your book, and you're going to have something to write on. And I want you to start working on finding some quotes, like, with each new leaf, I was gaining a better sense of myself, and this is early in the book, and then talking about how strong she got. And finally, as the futility theme starts to come in, she starts saying things like, our lives in this garden are but a moment, and we are doomed to the harvester's hand. So all of this begins to develop that theme. Finally, if you've got something that really leads to a strong conclusion, write that down. For example, in our novel, the novel ends with the sentence, alas, the blade has come, and today it comes for, and the novel ends mid-sentence. So I'm going to write that quote, and I'm going to make a note. Hey, the novel ends mid-sentence. That's a big deal. So now it's time to grab your notes and sit down at a computer and start writing. So we're going to write a paragraph that would say something like, the author uses point of view to develop the central idea of the futility of life in her novel, The Life of Cabbage. She wrote this novel using the first person point of view, so the main character, Savoy, speaks to us the whole time. In the early chapters, she tells us, with each new leaf, I was gaining a better sense of myself. I was stronger and firmer with each layer. Savoy becomes stronger. We understand that when she says things like, even the thunderstorms couldn't diminish my power in chapter 4. But then, as the farmer begins picking the blueberries, she despairs and says, our lives in this garden are but a moment, and we are doomed to the harvester's hand. By chapter 10, she resigns herself to her fate, crying, alas, the blade has come, and today it comes for, and Savoy's novel ends mid-sentence. So the first person point of view helps us understand how Savoy's life is just a meaningless journey to the skillet and a quick saute with some salt, pepper, and garlic, in the way no third-person book on agriculture possibly could. You see, it really is that easy to write a simple paragraph. Okay, no, it's not really easy. It is some work, but if you follow the process, you can write some really great paragraphs. Just follow the steps. Determine your paragraph's topic. Then put together some text evidence right out of the novel you read. Put that evidence into some really colorful, interesting to read sentences, and then move on. We'll check grammar and spelling later. Obviously, this is not a real novel. I've never even heard of a novel about a head of cabbage, but maybe somebody will write it someday. Anyway, I hope this was helpful to you, and thanks for watching.